Wednesday, June the 5th, and I got Penny back there just watching my back. She is regal as ever. And today, gosh, we have one of those workouts where it's so easy to explain what to do, and on paper even, I would say it looks so easy. But maybe the part that makes this difficult, or the part that we want to make challenging, comes only through explanation, or really through you pushing yourself, and it all has to do with how heavy is that dumbbell, right? So we'll come back to that in a second. Just know the first part of this workout, the strength portion, I should say, today is 6-6-3-3-1-1 strict press. So we are really throwing all the different volumes at you. And I always want to make sure that you guys understand that two things. One, the strict press is one of the hardest presses or overhead movements that we can possibly do, right? Because by the nature of the fact that it's strict, can't use our legs and we really want to. But also, when you do volume like this, 6-6-3-3-1-1, that's a heck of a lot of volume before you get to your singles. And we're trying to build strength through volume like this on this movement. And the reason I'm saying that out loud is in case anyone needs to hear it, you're not really gonna come close to your 1 rep max because of all the volume that came before those singles. It's not sort of the point, right? It's getting as close to a new PR or 1 rep as you can under the limitations that we're throwing at you today. Hi, Pen. So I always say that because strict press is one of those things where like the strength comes and goes, but you're never really you really got to be peaking. Just remember, when we do max out this movement, you won't have the 6s and the 3s. It'll just be, hey, go for broke, warm up a lot, but go only by singles and whether or not they were successful before you add weight. So just want to make sure you know, please don't be disappointed in yourself if you're not close to your 1 rep max today because of all that other volume. We're all going to superset that today with 1.5 pull-ups. We have done those before, but in case you weren't sure exactly how to do them, we threw another video explaining it down below. Go check that out. This time it's one of us. It's me, actually, instead of some random YouTube video. When we have the time to do that, we try to. All right, this workout: 6-8, 6-8, 12, 4 rounds. All right, and the 6s and the 8s. Let's talk about them. This workout is designed like this. You start with one arm, right? One arm. You choose the arm. I don't care which one. I actually made a mistake. I used the right arm first. I should have used my weak arm first. But you stay on that arm. So it is. Say you choose your right arm. 6 shoulder to overheads with a dumbbell, and then whether you go right into it or not, I don't care. I suspect most of us won't be able to. But the next part, the 8, is using that same arm, so in this example, right arm up overhead, doing 8 or 4 per side, alternating lunges. And then we do 6 and 8 again, this time with the opposite arm. So the only rule here is we're not mixing and matching within the 6s and the 8s. So you stay on the right arm for all 6 and then all 8, and then the left arm for the next 6 and the next 8. And then where this becomes maybe an issue is just the fact that while we're going to spend this cycle getting stronger overhead with those strict presses, we also always want to try to make sure that we are doing isolated work on both sides. And that happens today both with legs and arms. So, I could see we're going to find whether or not we have imbalances, whether or not a push press or a push jerk is more difficult on one side than the other. I can even anticipate some people having needs of using multiple different dumbbells in order to get this done. But the bottom line is, if you use a dumbbell that's too easy today, this is not a very long workout, not very challenging either, not even very sweaty. But if you use one where you might even have to break these movements up, then you got the right idea. I used a 70 for this, and it's not even a bragging comment. It's 70. My strict press max is 170, so that means I'm using less than half of that in a single arm. I should be able to get that overhead because I can push press it, I can push jerk it. It's shoulder to overhead. Now the lunges, that's a little bit of a different question, different answer. I needed to break up the lunges at least in one of the rounds today, and that's totally expected. It is expected that if you go challenging or heavy enough on these dumbbell movements today, that at some points or other points, or one movement or a different movement, round 1 or round 3 or round 4, whatever, at some point you're gonna have to break something up, and that would tell me that you did it right. That's tough to know because of those imbalances. Like what I say right now might apply for your right arm, and then a different thing is going to apply for your left arm. We just don't know. Now, here's the other thing I can tell you just from having done this workout. We wrote the lunges with any variation of lunge in mind. It's really just the two options. Either I'm stepping forward or I'm stepping back. We find that stepping back gives you a better chance of keeping your chest proud, which you need when there's a barbell or a dumbbell overhead, because you can't have that thing coming forward, right? If it comes forward, the chest falls forward, and then you can't stand up and you're having to break this thing up. So you really want to lock that thing back behind your head, go into your lunges, and really think, my chest needs to stay proud here, or else that dumbbell is going to fall forward. And again, like if we absolutely have to, we can use different dumbbells for different arms, or different dumbbells for different movements. And each round ends with 12 sit-ups. Why 12 sit-ups? I'll tell you what, I didn't like those 12 sit-ups. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's definitely enough to get your core even more fatigued when you know you need it for these other movements. So it's not a lot. It's not a high volume sit-ups today, but it is just enough, A, to help you recover, if at all possible, those arms, and B, to fatigue the core just enough so that you have to go, dig a little deeper in order to use it on both those lunges and the shoulder to overhead. Now, again, I used a 70, which meant, because it's shoulder to overhead, you can do whatever you gotta do to get the thing to the shoulder to begin with, right? You can use both arms to get to the shoulder, but once you're ready to drive that thing up overhead, you're using only that one arm and no assistance from the other arm. You can use push press, push jerk. I feel like if you're strict pressing that dumbbell, then it's not heavy enough, but it's going to differ for everyone. I never needed to break up anything on my right side, but I did need to break it up on my left side, and this took me a little over 10 minutes. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoy this one. It's definitely a little different look for us today, but hopefully a worthwhile or valuable one. If you do it right, enjoy.